Right. So we are live, it looks like. We're going to have Jack on here shortly, and we're going to jump into the Sarasota event, see how his planning and training's going for the Charleston event coming up in March, roughly 6 months. So we got a little while before we get to that. But yeah, so he'll be joining us, and then we'll chit-chat it up a little bit here. And like I said, we'll talk to him. He took first place during that event. We only had 3 finishers, so he took first. He was pretty much first throughout the whole event. And then I think we had Ian Lai was second, and then Don came in from behind and ended up taking third place in that event. So it was a good event. We had a decent number, started. I think we had 9. We lost 6 out of the 9 total for that one. So it was hot. I can tell you one thing, it was hot. My shirt, I think this might be the same shirt I had on during that event. My shirt and my skin were the same color from that event. So if you watch, we got like the promo video out for the Cerberus events. If you've seen it on, our channel.
All right, I think I'm live.
Yeah, you're there, man.
What's up, dude?
How's it going?
I've just been grinding away, work, training, sleep. Repeat. That's pretty much all there's been to it lately. How about yourself?
No, I was just busy. We were out in Colorado a couple weeks ago for the Cerberus, and then turned around, came back to Ruck Fest last weekend in New Jersey, and here now, just in the in the garage.
I mean, obviously, you know why I wasn't able to make Colorado, and I was bummed about that. But it's cool. I didn't expect you guys to be going out to Ruckfest. I've seen that event being held in the past quite a few times, and it's always one of those things that's been on my bucket list to try to get out to at some point. But it's man, I'm glad to hear that you guys are doing well. I've been keeping up on track with all the people signing up for Charleston, and
we're at like 20 something right now. So
really?
We're almost to the halfway point of being full. So
holy crap.
Yeah.
Wow, so that's actually huge. Because I mean, how many people signed up for Sarasota again?
Total, I think we had 17, I think it was. For Sarasota.
Like 8 or 9
or
showed
19.
up.
Actually, it was 19. It was 19. 17 was Colorado Springs.
Okay.
So, but that was total. So that was up to the day of the event. So we're 6 months out. We haven't even had a price increase on this event yet. That's next week, actually, a week from tomorrow. So we've had, lots of signups compared to the initial signups we had in the prior.
That's awesome. So, yeah,
that's some big names. We got some big names coming out. So
I saw Mark Jones is going out there. I haven't had the chance to properly meet him yet, but I know he's kind of like a local legend in the whole community. So it'd be really cool to do stuff with him. I've been kind of spreading the word myself, asking some of my buddies in my little groups to, because I have a lot of friends up in the North Carolina area, see if they're interested in it. Hopefully it'll be a good group that comes out to it. So
yeah, and I said, I honestly think we'll end up with all 50 slots filled.
Nice.
We'll probably have a wait list, I'm guessing. I don't know how deep that wait list will go, because again, you know as much as I know, when you have 17, 20, 30 people signed up, 10 show up, 9 show up.
And I guess I was one of those factors in Colorado, unfortunately.
Yeah, and everybody's got the reasons. But I mean, it's just going into it, like I was talking to Greg and Shredder about it, and I was like, we'll get all 50 signups filled. I feel, but we'll probably still only have 40 people show up.
Right.
I mean, hopefully we end up getting those 50 signups, and then we're able to stay in touch enough with those people and figure out, like, hey, if you're not going to show up, let us know, because we have a person that can fill that spot.
Right.
And transfer you to a later event or something.
It's good to be having that problem of people waiting to get in. So that's a good sign of progression with how things are going. I'm really glad to see that things are going well with the events.
Yep. Yep.
I tell you, man, one of the things I've been wanting to get out to for quite some time is one of the throwdowns. You know, obviously, I know that Tallahassee is going to be next year in January.
Yep.
That was like my second home up there. It was January 20th.
Yeah, I think it's 20th or 21st, somewhere. It's
okay.
20 something. It's
yeah,
like
that one's definitely in the cards. Yeah, there's a good group of people up there. The Tallahassee Ruck Crew. Shout out to those guys. But I did my first event with my first. Before I go into it any further, am I allowed to say other company names, or is that kind of off the?
I'm not. I mean, you can say whatever you want.
Okay, we're not trying to promote or anything.
Talking.
I just don't know what your policy is as far as that goes.
We're just talking.
Yeah, I mean, I did my first GoRuck event. It was like a light with the Tallahassee Ruck Crew, and that's actually where I met Troy. He was kind of the guy that I had some general idea of what heavy drop training was about from him. I never really spoke to him directly about it, but I did my first event with those guys. I did my first Star Course with them. Super welcoming group. I had a great time with them. I think quite a few of them are going to turn up for that event in January, so I'm looking forward to that. But I remember I had done quite a few events with Troy, and he had that heavy drop training patch on him. They were always taking the photos at the end of events. Yep. And I was a little unsure of it because I knew of all these ruck programs that had been put out there, whether it's like the Pathfinder stuff or the heavy drop. And, you know, truth be told, the way that I've always kind of gone about these events is I've kind of winged it. I've done my own thing, you know. And so, you know, one of the things that I've been wanting to get into for a while, especially now going into this one in March, and having experienced what I went through in Sarasota, I think I definitely want to get some time with some heavy drop training under my belt. So I'm probably going to be signing up for one pretty soon, whenever the next one available may be.
So I can tell you right now, we just started a new round this week.
Yeah, I saw that.
So, I mean, we do late signups until 2 weeks in. So if you wanted to get in on this round, you can. You have a free sign-up still from the Sarasota event. So you just tell me and I'll.
Does that still carry over?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
Yeah. I'm kind of first place. You get a free sign-up. So.
Oh, okay. Awesome. I appreciate it. And right now, I'm kind of on this really wacky training regimen. Obviously, I've got the big one coming up, so to speak, in October. But I definitely plan to, like, I've actually gone about, ever since I did what I did in Sarasota, I've gone about incorporating a lot more sandbag training in my workout. I absolutely hate it. The Carl Frederictons, I cannot stand them.
Nobody likes Carl Fredericton.
That's the cool thing about, I really liked Cerberus and Sarasota for that reason. Like I've done a number of these different events, and the cool thing that you guys did with that was the way I describe it to people, because a lot of people ask me about it. They're like, is it like a GoRuck event? It's like a Spartan Hurricane heat. Like, what is it like? I tell them it's like everything but the kitchen sink. Like, they just throw everything at you. You don't know what you're getting into. It's running, rucking, you know, heavy carries, sandbag workouts. I saw you guys were carrying ergs and rowing with those in Colorado. Yeah. And so that's kind of the cool thing is like there's really no specific basis on like how you're going to, you know, revolve these events around. You know, there's everybody's got their strengths and everyone's got their weaknesses, and, you know, they're shown through these events. But, you know, that being said, I was watching a lot of the live streams. Oh, I don't know if that was my computer or yours, like a loud noise. But, you know, I was watching the competitors out in Colorado. Man, everyone was just killing it at that. Oh, yeah. I got to say, that was a lot of heavy hitters at that one.
Yep. Yeah, no, that was one of those events where, I mean, you know, pretty much everybody was putting out the whole time. You know, especially Liz. Like,
oh, dude,
there was definitely opportunities where she could have took her foot off the gas a little bit to like save some energy. But she didn't. I mean, the concept is you're supposed to keep the foot on the pedal the whole time, but don't get me wrong. I can tell you so many times, you know, at a certain point, I'm going to say, hey, you do it again, we're going to have an issue here and you're going to be doing some extra work or something to cover that. But, you know, I'm not going to, like, if she took a second to take an extra breath, I'm not going to get on her right away about it. It's if she takes like 2 or 3 extra breaths or something, you know, but she never even did that.
She never did. And that was
grinding
the
it
cool
out,
thing, yeah.
going. And even when she did sand dune at the end there, that AMRAP, she had to hit 5 rounds, which she hit without issue.
Yep.
She had like 10 minutes left in it, which was like not even. It was like she blew through it. But at the same time, you got to keep moving. You can't just say, okay, I hit my 5. I'm going to just put the sandbag down, breathe, take some water, relax, chill out for a little bit. You have to keep moving. And I think you remember in Sarasota, you guys had God of Chaos, which that's probably way worse than sand dune in all honesty.
That was
I think the worst part. Thing. Like if you guys stopped for a minute though, I'd be like, all right, 3, 2, 1, you need to be moving. And if you weren't, I was like, you're gonna be done. I'm gonna drop you right here if you take too long of breaks. And she didn't. I didn't even have to tell her. She just straight through it, nonstop. And it sucked watching her not get that rope climb, but because
I was
literally wanted to get up there.
I was watching that live stream. I was in the gym and I was training. I was on like a squat rack and I had it pulled up the live stream of the rope climb, and I was literally clutching my phone like. I was talking to the phone, like almost yelling into it, and people were looking around at me like, "What is this guy like rambling on about?"
Yeah.
But man, no, she killed it. I think everyone did a crazy job because I think you guys really upped the standard since the last one. Having looked at the stuff that you guys did, man, that just I don't like looking at it now. I don't know how I would have done. I mean, my training has been completely different from how I approached Sarasota because I had every intention of going to Colorado and just trying to put in anything and everything I could into it.
Yeah.
But honestly, I mean, shoot, I probably would have been smoked. I don't think I could have. There were a lot of stuff on there that would have really kicked my butt. So it's cool to think that. I mean,
even Liz, she got to the sandbag rope pulls. She came 4th every single time with those. That was her weakness. She got 4th every time. And I even looked at her and I said, "Hey, how many times you get 4th?" And she looked at me and she goes, I go, "Was it 1?" And she's like, "No." I'm like, 2? No. 3? Yeah. I was like, okay. So we found a weakness for Liz. So, everybody's going to have a weakness. There's something you're not going to be good at. So
that's the cool thing about it though. Yeah, I mean, you go into these events and you find these weaknesses, and it sucks in the moment to have to be dealing with it. But, you go back into training, you get ready for the next one. And, and I've seen it at some of these other events I've done where, we'll be doing a certain evolution, whether it's like a drag or something through like the woods. And I'd seen one of my buddies that I would know really well have some struggles with it. I'd go to another event months later and he'd just be crushing it. And that's what I really like about these events in general is it exposes your weaknesses and it gives you the ability to kind of, look at yourself, from an outward point of view and be like, all right, this is what I need to work on. This is what I need to improve on for the next one. And so, yeah, I mean, it's really made a huge difference in my training especially since Sarasota. I think that was still to this day, like the biggest event. It was the biggest event I've done.
I hope so.
Everything. Yeah, it was tough, man. And I tell you, you're talking about the sand dune workout. I remember that was. I mean, I was trying to really grind through that as fast as I could, but mostly just because, dude, it was so hot and laying on that damn blacktop.
Yeah,
oh my gosh, I was just cooking. So, but yeah, man, it was a great event. And I was gonna ask you as well. Like, I mean, as far as Charleston's looking, is Michael? I noticed Michael wasn't at Colorado. Was he all right?
Yeah.
I heard something.
So he had some medical stuff going on. That just didn't let him travel at the time. So,
right.
We covered it. We got it done. And he's should be in Charleston though. He did get a clear.
I hope he's doing all right.
Yeah. So he got a clear to travel. It's just hopefully nothing else happens to any of us, to make it not happen. But everybody should be there. All 3 of us should be there for Charleston.
Cool.
Which is good because then I get a little more sleep.
Just a little bit. Yeah, I was gonna say because that was tough. You and Greg were literally just jumping back and forth.
Yeah.
I saw that. There was that one portion where
we did about 20 hours each. So.
Damn. Yeah, I tell you, even running these events, you have to have a pretty strong level of endurance just to stay awake and just deal with them.
Oh, for sure. It's a
Yeah,
good time though. We enjoy it.
but
I mean, it's fun for us too, as much as it is like,
mhm,
to go out there and enjoy, a new city and all that stuff. It's just fun to
right.
watch competitors. I mean, it's like a front row seat
Yeah.
to people putting 100% effort and just crushing themselves through an event. So, it's cool for us to be
Mhm.
able to see that from like the, you know, personal side. And then there's like the event side of us where it's like, we have to act like we don't care what you do, as far as the
Yeah.
workout goes.
Like you
But
hate all of
inside, we're
us.
saying, man, you crushed it. Awesome job. That was great.
Yep.
But yeah, it'll be good though having Shredder back, to round out the three of us for the event. So Charleston's going to be fun.
Mhm.
It's going to be a good time.
100%. Yeah, man. And looking back on it now, like I was thinking about like the first Green Beret Fitness event I did was Operation Endure. And
Okay.
it was kind of a good baseline for Sarasota because we did a lot of stuff in that gym in Sarasota, the same
Okay.
one
Yeah.
that we
Yeah.
did Endure in. So it was
Yep.
the 24 hours of WODs. It was in pairs. I paired up with a gentleman that actually he's a trainer now, Dustin Dobbs. He works over at that gym. He's an awesome dude, stud of an athlete. And
Okay. Yeah.
that was like my first experience with that. And it was a grind fest, man. And so I was after that first one working with Greg, I was like, I got to get more of this. I want to see. I want to try to get out to some of the other events. And I came across Cerberus because Troy had did it the year prior, and Stephen
Yep. Good
Reinders
one.
had done it. I'm good buddies with those guys.
Yeah.
And I saw the posts about it, and I saw it was going to be in Sarasota. So, I mean, it was kind of at the time, it was like a no-brainer. I had to be there because it was just close enough for me, and it was right there.
Yep.
And it was an awesome time, dude.
So
But
like
I
jumping
would
into the
say
event.
that.
Go ahead. Finish your statement.
What's that?
Go ahead and finish what
Oh
you're saying.
no,
Sorry.
I was going to say I was about to jump into details of the event as well. So, any
Yeah. Yeah.
questions or
Awesome.
anything you wanted to bring
Let's
up
go.
about
Let's
the
go with
event?
that. Again, anybody has questions while we're doing this, just post them in the comments. I got my phone out here and I'm scrolling through. So if you guys have questions,
Mhm.
I'll throw them at Jack here as he's going through.
But well, I was going to say that as far as the event goes, that looking back on some of the more memorable stuff, shoot, I will say the one thing that I would say like my low point during Sarasota for me was, when we were doing the quarter mile of death up that hill
Oh
with the
yeah,
drags and all that stuff.
yep.
Dude,
Mount
that
Sarasota.
was pretty nightmarish. Yeah, that was like I didn't think you could find a hill in Sarasota, but that
Yeah.
was
Well,
they
you
had it
cramped up.
there. And I remember I think I tweaked my back a little bit doing
Yeah,
that. We
you
were doing
cramped
like
up or
those
tweaked something in
drags,
your
I
back. I
think.
remember that because I was at the top of the hill with you for a
Yeah.
bit trying to help you work it out.
Yeah, I was worried at that time because I was like, shoot, I really hope this isn't anything like too crazy because if this is what takes me out of the event, I'll be pissed. But
Yeah.
it's interesting because sometimes you get these things where it feels like it could be something serious for a while, but you keep moving with it a little bit after a while, and it ends up. I almost just got numb to it when we started doing more of the sandbag training, and I
Yeah.
definitely felt it the next day a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, those were pretty brutal. I mean, the workouts themselves, I would say that the toughest element were definitely the sandbag workouts.
Yep. Okay.
Those were no joke. Especially I think I must have been the only guy going into that probably hadn't done any heavy drop training before. Um, unless
Yeah.
unless there may have been a couple
No.
others
Yeah.
that
I think
maybe,
you were because I'm just going through the list in my head of who I remember at the
yeah.
start point. I'm
Like
pretty sure
I
you
I
were the same.
done Yeah, I'd done sandbag work before, but I hadn't done all the crazy stuff like the get ups and,
Yep.
just workouts back to back to back and, getting smoked on the beach in the heat. So that was pretty brutal. I will say the scariest part of the whole event though for me, there was the 8 mile ruck, the timed ruck. That was kind of the one that was shockingly took a lot of people out, mostly because they took that wrong turn.
Yep.
Um, and for me, I was trying to move as fast as I could, mostly because I was shuffling to start with, and about maybe 2 miles in, I go to take a sip of my water from my bladder, and I go to drink from it, and my ruck seemed like oddly like lighter than usual. And I go to take a sip from my bladder, and it's completely black, and I'm like, oh shit, I forgot to fill up on water. And I was already, I was so smoked. We had been so smoked from the workouts prior. So I was of this mindset going into that where I'm like, if I don't get back and get water soon, I'm going to get dehydrated and I'm just going to end up tanking. So I was shuffling the whole way through. I was trying to just get through it as fast as I could just because I was on like survival mode at that point.
Yeah.
And it was, that was a pretty brutal point for me. And, when I heard Greg yelling from inside the gym after I had gotten done for Ian and Dawn to get in, and I didn't realize that it was like that close to the end for it. So
yeah.
And it was really weird when I was coming back around, because when I didn't see anybody go, on my own way back, I realized then, like, I don't know what happened, if they took a wrong turn or what, but I guess there was a part where the sidewalk split and went straight, and then the trail went another way. And I think that's what happened with that. But yeah, man, that was kind of like when like the bullet hit the bone, man. That was when everything really started to get kind of real in that event for me. So
yeah, Ian and Don, I think, made it by about.
They made it by maybe 30 seconds or so.
I think Don came in 30 seconds inside the time hack, and I think Ian was like 15 seconds inside the time hack. And talking to them too, and again, I'm sure there's other opinions out there based on who didn't make it through that part of the event. But talking to them, they said, or at least Don did. I don't remember if I talked to Ian about it, but they said they never saw anybody behind them almost the whole entire time. Like they saw them at the beginning, and then it just sort of there's space basically from then on.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened.
Odds are they probably, even if they took the right trail and all that stuff, they probably don't make the time hack. Not saying they couldn't, because at any point in time, one of them could have just started sprinting as hard as they could and made it possibly. But it would have been tough for them to make that time hack. So I know there was some animosity that was out there as far as that movement went from some people during that. But again, it's sort of, it is what it is. If everybody missed it like that, then we could maybe say, all right, maybe it was a bad scenario that we put out there and we didn't give enough information. But the fact that the three of you made it and just barely made it even sort of tells us that it was probably enough information for you to figure it out and get there and get back without any issues. So, and again, we're 34 hours in or something like that.
We were pretty far.
You're zoned out. So if you need to be focused. If you're zoned out, you're just going to follow a path and just go. You're not going to even realize it. So that's probably more likely what happened, is they just didn't pay attention and they passed it, and lo and behold, they're like, man, we're way past where we should be right now. And that was just, it is what it is type moment. So sucks, but part of the game.
It's part of the game. Yeah. And beyond that, I remember following that, we had the little mind games, like the puzzles. I look back on that and I always think that was so funny, just because it was like these little children's puzzles that you had us do after we were so smoked, and like my brain was so fried at that point that like it's like a 25-piece puzzle and I'm just trying to piece it together. Ian's just blowing through it. Dawn beats me as well, and I'm just like, oh, he was, and I give him credit, man. He caught up in terms of points real quick with those puzzles.
Puzzles too.
I was like, shoot, he's gonna beat me. Like Ian's gonna take this.
The cognitive part's
obviously
gonna get...
when.
I was saying,
and so I was. Oh yeah. I was gonna ask you as well, because I didn't. Were there any type of like brain games like that at Colorado?
Not really, because we got to a point where it was really just two people. After 24 hours, it's just two of them, and we didn't really get to the real endex time. We like Mike got to 38 hours, but that was in the middle of the QMod 6. So, had he made it to that point, there was some cognitive stuff we could have done and sort of put them against each other a little bit. But You know, when it was just Liz, it's sort of like we could make her do a full puzzle and watch her, but you know, at that point, she's not going to lose points, gain points. There's nothing really to go with that. You know, we'd rather just say, hey, all right, we're going to just knock out this stuff and you're going to go up a rope basically at this point. So, yeah, I mean, we had some stuff it was on the list of things we could do, but, you know, it was one of those things where we got to a point where it's like, is it worth even doing right now? Like, you know, we don't really need to do
death by PT, death by exercise. So
yeah, pretty much. You know, that's and you know, that wouldn't have changed anything. It would just push the timeline slightly back, and we would have gone over our 40-hour mark, which we weren't really looking to do that either. So,
right.
So yeah, I mean, let me see here. I got some people chiming in here. So, Troy wants to know where your sexy face is because he can't see your face.
Can you see my face? Can you see my face?
No, you're just you're an icon right now of your profile picture. So
are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh shoot! I didn't even know that. Hang on, let me see.
I figured, you know, you just didn't want to break cameras and stuff, you know, with the shine and glow of your all-American.
I had no idea.
Oh,
that's weird because
Facebook might be censoring you.
No, hey, well, you know what? Oh shoot! Let me see if. Oh, I didn't even have the video thing turned on. That's my fault.
And you're rocking some HDT too. I like it.
Yeah, see, I dressed up for it. I mean, waist down is boxer shorts, but that's
hey, that's all right. We'll ask you to stand up later.
But yeah, no, I'm sorry. I completely didn't even realize I had the thing turned off.
It's all good, man. Another question I got for you. So, leading up to the event, what was your training like? Focus on endurance, drop weight, cycle back. You know, working up to Sarasota.
So, and it's kind of weird when I was, you know, leading up to Sarasota was a little bit strange because, to be honest, like I wasn't training at like a really proper intensity. I didn't really have a proper routine at the time. You know, typically like my training consists of a lot of barbell work and a lot of CrossFit mixed with strength training. So like I work for my local sheriff's office and they have a, are you familiar with the app SugarWOD? Yeah. So they have their own programming that they put out daily through SugarWOD. And I mean, those workouts were pretty brutal. And so I was doing an even mix of those, like the CrossFit workouts. Okay. Mixed with like a barbell variation of like push-pull legs type deal. Yep. So I was kind of focused on like the big three mixed like some other type of like accessory exercises. Truth be told, I wasn't doing that much rucking. I still don't do as much rucking. Although I will say that I've kind of changed a lot of my training to like a lot of the workouts that I do now, like a lot of the exercises, I'll do it with a ruck on and like I'll literally bring like the 50-pound ruck into the gym with me and just literally carrying it around and just having it like with me the whole time. It's basically like an extension of my person. It's made a huge difference in terms of like just literally like my upper back strength. And so,
for sure.
But at the time leading into it, I would run a little bit here and there. It was nothing too crazy. It was mostly just those CrossFit workouts and the barbell work. Looking back on it now, I mean, I did a little bit of sandbag work. It wasn't anything nearly as significant as the stuff that you put out through HDT, though. But looking back now, I really wish I had done a lot more. So if that's the biggest thing I could give advice for is get used to that sandbag. Get used to the sandbag. Get used to the ruck. You know, just have it on you at all times. Just get used to carrying awkward weight, you know, because that's a big factor in it. And do a lot of core strength exercises because I know you love core workouts, man. It's tough.
Carl Frederickson get-ups, those are like my two favorites. Like, I mean, it's a full body workout, but man, does it hit the core hard. So yeah, I mean, you should have seen the Colorado first core workout they got was a soul crusher, and we started it off with some just regular old rotations while holding the sandbag, nothing too crazy, get the core warmed up a little bit, and then I hit them with 25 Carl Fredricksons 25 Carl Fredricksons, which is basically 50 get-ups with a sandbag sit up, and then followed that up with 50 get-ups.
one Carl Fredrickson is 2 reps, like 1 rep each side, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's basically
God.
50 get-ups. And then I hit him with another 50 get-ups, just regular old get-ups, both 25 on each side, and then 100 sandbag sit-ups to end it. So that soul crusher is like on a level of its own right now.
Yeah, you got to have some
Everybody,
wild core strength.
everybody
You
that
know,
did that
like
one, and Kyle Crutcher, who I'm sure you know who Kyle Crutcher is,
I
he,
believe I believe we may have met once or twice, but
yeah, I mean, he's done plenty of events and stuff. So, but
yeah.
he was pegged. Everybody, I can tell you, anybody who knew Kyle expected him to finish that event. Um, he he actually got behind on his reps because he miscounted his rotations that he was doing. So he was only counting half the movement. So all of a sudden, like he gets done real
Oh.
quick, and I'm just like, he got done pretty fast. And he's like, I'm like, you did 100, right? And
Mhm.
he's like, yeah, I did 100. And I'm like, all right. So I walk away, and I'm just sort of sitting there, and he comes back up to me. He's like, and I'm thinking in my head like, I wonder if he really did 100. I'm like, not thinking he's trying to cheat, but I'm thinking like he misunderstood something. So then he comes up to me. He's
Yeah,
like,
he
hey, what's
misunderstood
a
the
rep?
movement.
What's a rep? And I'm like, all right, 1, 2, 3, 1. And he goes like, shit, I got to do 50
He's like,
more.
damn it.
And I'm like, all right, but listen up. Guess what? Those 25 get-ups that you just finished, you got to do them again. They're zeroed out. Sorry, bud. He went back. And
That's
because
where
he's
the
so
soul crusher
competitive,
part comes in.
oh yeah, that's a soul crusher moment. He went back though. He actually came back and won that workout in the end. He crushed
Really?
himself on that workout. And I think, to be honest, he
Damn.
got med dropped because he was puking and stuff, and he wasn't keeping fluids down very well. And
Mhm.
I think that's where it all started. Like he just put his body through so much that it was in shock almost, and it was like everything else afterwards was just basically running him down more and more and more, to the point where his body was just not taking the situation very well. And
Yeah.
it sucks having to drop him
It
as I
gets
did in
tough.
other talks, but
Yeah.
he's got
I've been in
unfinished
that
business moving into
situation.
Charleston.
Yeah,
So
I've been in that situation a few times. I remember, I mean, I did brag earlier this year, as one of my events, and I don't even know what happened. I don't know if it was like food poisoning or what, but like halfway through the event, I just started to, like, I had this horrible indigestion. I just started to spew, and it wasn't even from exertion. It was just, I don't know if it was something I ate or I drank bad water. But like that'll crush you, man. Like for a while
oh,
I
for
thought
sure.
I was going to have to back out of all the events. I rallied through it and I got through, but I know that's typically one of those things that you really got to be careful of, especially because of the dehydration. So
Yeah.
I mean, I was like just pounding electrolytes and water after that. But yeah, it was pretty, because I saw quite a few of the videos and I thought he was killing it. And so when I heard he
Yep.
had to get med dropped, that was pretty tough to see.
Yeah. No, and again, physically and mentally, he probably could have kept going. It
Hmm.
was just too much of a concern. It isn't
Right.
worth it. It's an event. We're having fun, right? So
Yeah.
type of fun.
Allegedly.
You know,
But
um,
some kind of fun,
yeah,
depending
yeah.
on how you
It's a
look at
little
it.
fun. That's fun enough that you want to be there for some of it, right? Um,
And
but
you're
yeah, he
surrounded
just
by some
kept.
other weirdos that want to do it with you. So,
Yeah, it's
you
a
know,
great time. Everybody should sign
you
up.
make friends.
Join us. Hey, I'll say this though, Charleston. There's a food festival going on in Charleston that same weekend. So if
Oh,
it doesn't work out, anybody can still go out and have some fun and try some really good food, I'm guessing. So it's
I could,
bring the
I could
family, have them
really,
hang out.
I could see you guys. I could see Greg, because I know he's a pretty sadistic person. I could see him bringing the crew around that food festival just to do an evolution of whatever the case may be, just to have
Oh,
them there and just pull them away.
100% guaranteed we're going to go through an area where that food festival is going on, and you guys will get to smell all the great smells. And yeah,
It's that
probably not eat
temptation.
anything out of there, but yeah, it will definitely probably end up in some space where there's going to be some really good smelling food. Um, yeah, we'll see what happens, but yeah, I mean, anybody can come down and worst case scenario, if you end up leaving early, you can go, wander around downtown and
There
check
you
out food
go.
festival stuff. Um,
Now, question I have for you is I remember seeing, I think before Colorado, that Greg claimed he was going to pull back a bit on the intensity in Charleston. I assume that's not the case anymore, though. It's
That was
definitely not
never
the
the
case.
case.
That was never the case.
He's just talking. That's all he's doing. He's just talking. You
I
can
figure.
expect what people saw in Colorado, the level of intensity. That's going to be what you're going to see in Charleston. That's what you're going to see in the
Okay.
next location we do, in the next location, which hopefully we'll have that figured out relatively soon here. So, but yeah, you can 100% guaranteed it's going to be on the same level as what we saw in Colorado. The workouts are going to be on the same level. Greg's going to be on the same level. The rope climb is going to be the same. All of that stuff's going to be identical in that aspect. As far as intensity, we're not going to. I'm not going to copy and paste it all, but it's going to be. We'll still have a Q mod 6 in there, so minimum 5 completed out of the 6.
Okay.
It'll be different movements. It won't be the same movements. Again, I have a sort of not a chart or anything, but I have averages for round to round that we've done Q mods, and those quarter miles of death, I know on average how long they should take, and I can pick certain individuals I know that are at a certain level and say, all right, this person, what they average on that movement. And then when I add these numbers together, I'm like, all right, this should be what an elite level number should be of this movement, and put that together as the 6, types of movements. And it'll be like, it'll come out to about 2 hours, maybe a minute or two above, below type thing. But, you should be able to get that 5 in there within that 2 hours. That 6th one, I don't know if we'll ever see anybody finish all 6, to be honest, at the actual, max weights. I don't think we'll see it. I could be wrong, but closest we had out in Pittsburgh was Cullen. He got within, I think, 120 feet of finishing the 6th movement. It was brutal.
Tough,
and he honestly didn't take many breaks. He took all his breaks were necessary breaks. Like he was, ruck lunges overhead, and he was going. And he had to put it down and shake the arms out type thing, and he'd pick it right back up and go. And, all of his movements were, smooth. Like he never stopped for more than maybe 20, 30 seconds at the most to try to just get sort of like the feeling back in his arms and stuff. So, it was close. It's one of those things. If you think about it in your head, you're like, all right, if he maybe only takes 18 seconds instead of 20 seconds over that whole 2 hours,
then
maybe
statistically he might be able to make it.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens though. Whoop, we're losing you a little bit. You there?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
All
right. You see me?
Yep, you're good. You're good.
Okay. All right. But yeah, if I'm definitely looking forward to it this time around. Obviously my training lately has been, I'm trying to just do like anything and everything from like just all the bear crawls in the gym to like barbell work to sandbag work. Because, that's one of the things about these events is you really never know what to expect. And another question I had for you as well was I noticed that, you incorporated that new barbell type event into some of your weekends. Are you ever going to do that again?
Yeah, so we did that here in Cleveland for the Twinsburg event. Sort of a little run of it to see how it went.
A beta test.
Yeah, so like we had like 3 or 4 signups. Only one person showed up, so we didn't even have really a competition per se. But it went good. It went smooth. We'll probably add those to some events. It'll be one of those things. I'll probably, once we get to a certain number of signups that we know that the throwdown's a go. So once we hit like 10 signups for a throwdown, then we can sort of like say, hey, all right, how many people would be interested in this event being added on? And then I'll put it on and stuff. The biggest thing with those is having volunteers for spotting. The more people we have signed up for it, the more spotters we're going to need type thing too. Because people are going to go.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, so it's a matter of getting volunteers involved. We had, myself, and I had, I think, one other person, Joe, was there with me. So we were able to spot, my buddy Jim, who was the only person doing it, to a certain extent. But then we got to, a point where Joe had to go, and I'm like sitting there going, all right, well, it's just me. And I'm like, you had squats left. And I'm like, all right, you're going for your max 2x3 basically for squats. And he's like, I'm going to go lighter so I don't actually have to ditch this and stuff. And I'm like, that's fine. You're already past like what we wanted to see. You're not competing against anybody at this point. So,
right.
you know, we're just like, you know, let's have fun and not have anybody, you know, shit their pants basically. So,
yeah, might as well just enjoy it.
Yeah. So, yeah, those will come back. It'll be, again, one of those things. We probably won't have any for the next 4 events that we have finishing out this last part of the year. But 2023, as, again, we get more signups and stuff, we'll start to add that in as an option. Again, we just need to have enough people show up and spotters that are going to be able to actually help and stuff. And it depends on the gym location, too. If we're starting at a gym,
that makes sense.
we can do it as long as they have hours that we can fit it in. If it's, you know, in the back parking lot of some place like Jupiter Beach right now, for the Florida event in 3 months, in November. Right now, the location is basically going to be at the parking lot of the pier on Jupiter Beach. So you can't really do a bench press. You can't do a squat. You can't, I mean, deadlift you can probably get away with. Unless somebody literally rolls up with a rack and says, hey, here we go. Let's just do it in the middle of a parking lot. You know, we can't really do that. So, so location will make a difference as well. But yeah, those will be, you know, sort of an add-on thing. If we have enough people interested, we'll add them on. Especially if I'm not flying out, like, you know, till Sunday night or something, then we have some time in there too. So, but yeah, cool. Those will be there. The QMod 6s are always going to be there because that's just a 2-hour just smoke session basically. So those will always be there too. The barbell is just one of those things where I got to sort of play it by ear a little bit.
Right. I gotcha. Cool. Anybody got any questions?
Oh, let's see here. Woof. Michael, right? So, Michael, this is a question about events. For 2023, yes, no. There's as far as, you know, compared to 2022 signups go, Dallas right now has probably got the most signups right now. I think they have like 7 or 8 signups.
Okay.
You know, it's a weird time right now to be doing events, in all honesty, because everybody's sort of pinching pennies at this point. I know a lot of people are probably waiting out to see if there's another sale or if there's, you know, well, just if they have enough money to do it. In all honesty, the travel costs and stuff, all that stuff plays into it. So as of right now, it's probably been relatively the same. The initial drop that we put out, you know, we had a decent amount of people signing up on that one when we put out the 2023 event calendar. And it's just been I would say a slow trickle. The Cerberus event has been blowing up the last couple of days, especially after Ruckfest and stuff. We're hoping to have the top 3 finishers for male and female are getting codes basically for this event for Cerberus. So we gave away, so we gave away free sign up to the 2 first place finishers. 75% off went to the second place finishers and 50% off to the third place finishers from the Ruckfest finals. So hopefully they sign up. You know, they may not. We'll see what happens. But you know, that was part of the plan going in, that we were going to give away as part of our sponsoring of the event for Ruckfest. We were going to give those to those top finishers. So hopefully they sign up. That'd be another 6 people or so added to the list, and all 6 of them hard charging competitors. If you guys caught any,
there was some beasts at Ruckfest.
They're legit. You know, some of them are like professional OCR athletes and stuff and all that. So
Rachel Waters being one of them.
Yep. She was, I think she had 3rd place overall, I think was what she ended up at. So for the women. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens, but, you know, hopefully they'll come out and take it on. There was a lot of people at Ruckfest that very interested in joining in Charleston. So, you know, we'll see what happens. A handful of them already signed up from, you know, out in Ruckfest, and Mark Jones signed up, as you know. So he's a stud athlete.
I'm going to have to up my game if he's going out there.
He's a stud athlete, man. He's so we trained him up for selection with our Sandbag and Ruck Plus program. And then he's back on that right now. He just started yesterday. I think he was like, I need to get back on it. If I'm signed up for this, I need to get on that sandbag. Oh yeah, he's on sandbag and ruck plus right now. So, with the plus stuff, it's basically
I might have to look into that one then.
Yeah, hey, like I said, you got free entry into our program. So, you just tell me when you want to start and I'll set you up.
Cool, man. I appreciate it.
The plus version basically is what I would recommend for anybody doing Charleston, anybody doing any other events that are on that level, just because it brings in sandbag rope pulls. It brings in our crucible carry, which you experienced in Charleston or in Sarasota on the beach there.
Yeah.
So crucible carries are added in. Yeah, so all that fun stuff that we do that's just like torture almost, that stuff all gets thrown into the Sandbag and Ruck Plus program. And that's the stuff that, we pull out here and there during the events specifically for those Cerberus events. So, if you've done it before, you sort of know what you're getting into when we say, all right, everybody get grab a bucket, grab some water, grab some sand, fill it halfway, tie up your ropes and go with that 4x4,
Yeah.
So yeah,
I remember on that one, in Sarasota, I had no idea what I was really doing putting that thing together. You probably remember it, but I put the bucket so low, like so close to the ground, and it actually worked in my favor because there wasn't as much swing to it because it was already so low. I was damn near almost dragging it, but yeah, that was pretty brutal just because the 2x4 just feels nasty on your traps.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's not a comfortable spot
an
you can really get on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don
you kind of just have to have like a frame for it.
Yeah, Don that was his worst moments of that event. He absolutely despised that moment.
Oh, yeah.
He said that was his darkest moment, was that part of the event. He took his time to get his knots tied and stuff, and I'm like, man, you're wasting my time here. Like, you're supposed to be moving. And finally, I just said, dude, tie a knot in that rope right now, and start moving. And when he picked it up, it was like one bucket here, one bucket down here. And it was like he was trying to find that middle point, and it kept swinging. The one bucket was like hitting the ground half the time. He was so frustrated with that thing because every time I looked at him, he was putting it down. And I said, you put it down again, and I'm going to tell you you're going home. Like, literally, you better not put it down again. So he kept going and stuff. And then finally I said, all right, you can take a little break. And then he starts going again. And then I told everybody else, you guys can have a break. And then Don kept going. I said, you don't get a break. You already took too many breaks. So you've already used up your breaks. So you continue moving back and forth. And I think mentally at that point, he was just like, man, I'm screwing up. This is not good. I'm not going to make it. Like, started doubting himself a little bit, I think, at that point. So that crucible carry, that was rough on the beach. It was dark. You guys couldn't even see like the, turnaround point really even, as you're going down and coming back. So, that was also where you left your knife. I remember that.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
Yeah,
I found that knife.
I think so. I had lent it out to somebody to cut their own rope and stuff, and I never ended up asking for it back. It's still my fault. I should have figured out what the deal was with it. It's me not keeping track of gear, but yeah, when I heard that, I was like, shoot. Huh?
It was open too. I was like, man, I'm just glad nobody put their hand down on it or anything.
Yeah, I knew when you found that and I recognized that handle, that knife, I'm like, I'm about to get smoked for that one. So
I saved it for later.
You
guys got God of Chaos.
Yeah, actually. But you still, I think you threw it in during the quarter miles of death.
Yeah, like, I did give you a little extra. I gave you a little extra.
So it did suck a little bit in that regard, but yeah, that was another lesson learned. So
that was that was. I'm surprised we found it, to be honest. That it was because it was just sitting in the sand. I mean, I just happened to drag my flashlight as I was making sure we didn't have anything left on the beach. Saw a little bit of an edge of the blade or something. And I go, what is that? Picked it up. I'm like, that's a freaking knife. I'm like, uh-oh, somebody's in trouble.
Yep. Yeah, somebody had to get in trouble, and it had to be me, as usual. So
looks like I don't know if you watched any of the Ruckfest, but Titan 6 was one of the sponsors out there. Titan 6 Actual.
I'm familiar
they do a lot of gear and stuff. So Chris Franklin says Titan 6 teams basically planning on signing up for the event. So we'll see how many they bring out too. Like I said, I really think we're going to have 50. I really think we're going to have 50 signups for this.
Yeah, Chris, I've done quite a few events with Chris. I've been up to Vermont with him to do some crazy stuff. I mean, we've done a lot of those hurricane heat style things together. Okay. He's a beast. I'm hoping he's able to make it out to that one, and he's kind of spreading the word around our little group as well. So awesome. There's a good group of people looking to do that.
Yeah, like I said, man, it's like if I go down the list, there's going to be some serious competition coming out for this event. Like I said, and that's not including the 6 that just competed in Ruckfest, those 6, top 3 finishers. So that's not even including them yet. There's some serious competition. So it's going to be, in all honesty, this is going to be an event that, in my opinion, it's going to come down to the person who actually plays the long game rather than the short game, right? So, like, you're going to have people that are so competitive, and it might be you, I don't know, but that are so competitive, they're going to come out the gate just crushing themselves. And then by the time they get to a certain point, they're going to be so smoked that they can't even perform anymore. So it's going to be interesting to see the dynamic there because, even in Colorado Springs, Liz was like eyeballing Kyle Crutcher from the corner of her eye, just going like, all right, he's on that. All right, I need to pick up my pace. Oh, he's on that. Okay, I can slow down a little bit. Oh, he's doing, she was like, she had like eyes on everybody the whole time she was paying attention.
So, I did too in Sarasota. No comment there though.
I know, yeah. Oh, I know. We don't have to get into that, but we're not. So this I'll say too. With 50 people, it's gonna be a little bit different of a setup for this event because we're gonna basically have cameras. We're gonna set up cameras basically on tripods in corners basically, so we have a full shot of everybody. So if there is any questionable stuff. When we do our exchanges over and stuff, I'll watch it at 5 times speed or something and just make sure there's nothing weird going on where it's like, hey, that person that person went straight from doing push-ups to, mountain climbers and there were supposed to be sit-ups in the middle there and they didn't do any of the sit-ups or something, something like that. But also we're looking at volunteers too. So we're actually reaching out. So if anybody wants to volunteer for the event, come out, count reps, hang out, we'll probably grab some pizzas and stuff and let you guys eat them in front of the,
that
participants.
Sounds more fun to
me. We are looking for some people to do that. So if you guys want to do that, just go to the same sign up for the actual event. There's a volunteer ticket that's just below the actual ticket. So you can just sign up as a volunteer. It's free. We're not going to charge you to help us out. So, but yeah, we'll have sort of a different setup. Being that we'll have that many people. Again, that's the expectation. I with where we're at right now, I expect to see pretty much everybody that signed up. I don't expect to see too many people backing out outside of, just stuff happens sometimes. But yeah, I really think we're going to hit that 50 mark and I really think we're going to end up having anywhere from 40 to 50 show up. So it'll be,
it's going to be a crazy event.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be intense. I'm stoked. It's going to be awesome just seeing people because I'll have you guys actually lined up across from each other rather than having you in the circles and stuff that we had down in Sarasota, or in Colorado Springs. I had everybody line up and you face off against each other. So you're watching each other's reps essentially right there in front of your face. So you know if somebody's going a little faster than they should be or something like that too. So you're spot checking a little bit too. And again, it'll be one of those things to keep track of the reps. We'll either have volunteers or the cameras going at the same time. And we'll have, you guys can be like, hey, anonymous, just, hey, walk over and, while we're talking, you just basically say, hey, I'm not sure that person did all this stuff. And then we'll say, all right, we'll check it, no worries. And, there's no punishment or anything like that because we're going to look at it. If you're calling somebody out, you don't do it unless you're actually calling something that's legit out. Because we don't want to have a bunch of tattletales going on. But if it's legit and it's like, hey, that person skipped like 10 reps of that and then 10 reps of this and then 10 reps of that, like it's something that we need to take into consideration. So we'll go to the tape, type thing. And, that's easy to do. It's not hard to pull up a video and sort of fast forward a little bit and be like, okay, yeah, that person only did 7 reps when they were supposed to be doing 10 reps for each of those sets. So, yeah, we'll have that going on, especially with that many people, because I only have so much vision that I can put out there for, stuff. But
it's a good thing.
Yeah. And it's, it's a big event. There shouldn't be, I would hope we don't have any integrity issues. Everybody's coming out for this is competing, and they're competing for something. It's not like it's just like, what's that?
I was gonna say, I always wonder, like, if you're gonna cheat on an event like that and cheat the reps and stuff, what's the point of really signing up? Like, you signed up to do this horrible, awful thing.
Don't get
me
wrong.
Might as well do it.
I get the competitive nature of people when there's a thing called first place, second place, third place, and if you're super uber competitive, you'll do anything to make sure you get it. And I get that. Some people just have that drive. I don't agree with it. And I don't think anybody should do it, but I get that concept, right? I understand where some people's brains go when it comes to that stuff. So again, as I've stated at every event that I do, anybody who cheats in my events or anybody who actually, does anything like that, and I catch you, you're done. You're not signing up for another Cerberus. You're not signing up for a throwdown. You're not signing up for a knockout or a Q-Mod 6. I have no interest in having you compete in any of my stuff, because I'm going to have to sit there and watch you like a hawk the whole entire time, and I don't want to do that. I want to be able to talk to the other, participants and make sure they're doing good and stuff, because I'm still coaching, especially during throwdown events. I'm sitting there coaching people. I don't need to be like out of the corner of my eye keeping an eye on this guy saying, well, this guy, cheated a bunch of reps in that one event, so I got to sort of pay attention to him, but I want to sort of watch this guy do his reps and say, hey, your back's a little, I'm getting a little nervous. Like, straighten the back up, get weight on the heels or something type thing. And I can't do that when somebody's, a potential issue for me to, have to pay attention to. So, yeah, if anybody cheats in any of my events, just so everybody knows, all 7 people right now watching, that you're done. We can still be friends outside, but I'm not going to let you sign up for another event. Won't take your money. There's no, hey, I've changed, because I've been cheated on before, and cheaters are always cheaters. So, but yeah, that's just how it works. And hey, sometimes I'll play a game. I'll play a game with people too. I'll let you finish the whole. Like, if it's Cerberus, I will let you finish the whole 40 hours. If you make it all the way to the end, if you make it to 40 hours and you cheated, and I know you cheated, I will let you complete the whole event, and then I'll say, I'm sorry, but you had an integrity violation where you cheated, and you're not going to get patched in. You're not going to get it. Sorry, but you completed it. Congrats. You can go home and tell people you finished, but you're not getting any recognition on finishing this event. You'll be an integrity drop. So yeah, that's just me. I don't like to play around with that stuff, man. It's just not right. So, moving on. So let's see here. So Brian, how's the Manchester event looking? Honestly, we're still in the same boat. So Manchester event is in basically 3 weeks or so. We're a week out from the deadline before we cancel it. That event, we have, I think, 4 signed up right now. I need at least 2 or 3 more to break even, so I can, cover at least my costs and stuff. Hopefully we get them, but yeah, right now we're at, at least 2 to 3 more signups before that one's a go. What's my wife saying? Cheetahs eat pitas. I don't know what that means. So yeah, the Manchester event, if you can make it out for that, come out for it. Whoever's watching. Again, if you get Ruckfest, you can get a discount code from me, because I said I would give a discount code to anybody who did Ruckfest. You didn't have to place for it, and I'll give you 25% off of any throwdown event other than the Ultimate Throwdown, for this year and next year. So just a little plug-in, I guess, right there for that. All right, so let's jump into Sarasota. What was the worst and what was the best part of that event?
The worst part was actually, all right, so this is a little bit gross, but the worst part was after the event, and it's a bit much. It was after the event, so I get done with the event and everything, and I feel pretty good, and I'm on the drive home, and I gotta stop and use the restroom at like some gas station. Now I didn't realize, because I was still wearing my pants and stuff. I had everything on, I didn't change. I looked like everything. I literally walked in there looking homeless. And I apologize if this is a little vulgar to some, I go, take my underwear down, and literally the chafing, I had literally chafed on my balls to the
Yeah,
point where they
it
were
happens.
bleeding. My balls were bleeding from that event, and I didn't even realize it. And it was so bad because I had to like literally I had to peel my freaking underwear off in that bathroom, and I was damn near in tears. And I'm in this 7-Eleven bathroom, and I'm like almost crying. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I just do to myself? And I'd never experienced anything like that before. I don't know what caused it. I must have been like, I mean, it must have been what I was wearing. I had like, Under Armour spandex
Yeah,
pants on.
yeah.
But man, that was brutal. In the event, so that was pretty bad. In the event itself, I would have to say, looking on it now,
Mount
the
Sarasota you
one
mentioned
evolution
earlier.
that was that.
The Mount Sarasota I think you mentioned earlier, actually,
Oh
right?
yeah, that was pretty brutal. That was kind of like, it wasn't so much that was like the worst, like the most brutal part. It was just kind of a low point for me because I thought I was injured, and
Okay,
that
gotcha.
I thought I was gonna have to like, shoot, if this is too bad, I might have to let it go. And I never like to be that guy. I've never had to do that in an
Yeah,
event before, and I really didn't want Cerberus to be the first.
yeah, yeah.
Um, I would say probably one of the toughest elements was actually just the series of workouts that you hosted on the beach, man, like by the beach. Because
Oh, the
that was
beach,
like, I
yeah.
mean, we had their little breaks here and there, but there were a lot of, you just threw everything at us, man. You threw like core workouts, you threw leg workouts, all in that heat. I mean, we were going almost until it was dark, until we ended up
It,
actually going to see the sunset. That was a pretty cool
yeah.
part of the
I
event. But yeah, man, you were just smoking us with those leg workouts. So that was pretty
yeah.
intense.
Oh wait,
The
hold
other
on.
part that kind
Now
of
let me ask
sucked
you
as
this though, real
well.
quick.
Mm.
So the lower body workout, did you catch Don's interview? Did you
I
listen to
didn't
any of
catch
Don's
all of it.
interview? So the
I
lower
watched a
body
little bit
workout,
of it.
Don mentioned this, and he said, hopefully Jack's not watching. Uh, he noticed that during, I think it
I
was the
must have missed it then.
lunges. Yeah, during the lunges, you doubled the number of lunges that was for that workout. So he
Did I
noted, he
really?
said, this is straight from Don's mouth. He says, I feel like I should have told him, but at the same time, I was like, maybe this will bring him down on a level that I can actually compete with him. And he said, I just stay quiet. And I was like, I can't, that's what it is. I can't say anything. So you doubled the
I
number
must have
of
been counting like
lunges.
1, 1, 2, 2. Shoot.
Yeah. So he mentioned that you ended up doubling up on your lunges on the
Oh
lower body
damn.
workout on the beach. So just to throw Don under the bus a little bit on that one.
Well, I wasn't gonna give him grief for it until you mentioned that. I probably was gonna tell him. I wish you would have told me, Don. I probably would have saved me a lot of grief.
Yeah,
But
I probably would have. Because
yeah,
I mean,
those
I'm sure I
lunges, man. Because the
programmed. I don't
lunges
have
were
it in
one of
front
the
of me, but it was
worst.
probably like 100 lunges or something. Something stupid like that. So you probably did 200 lunges. No big deal. Whatever.
Yeah, but that's what I was thinking. I'm like, damn, this is an insane workout. Like how are these guys doing this so well? I'm
Yeah.
smoked.
Yep.
So damn.
That's funny.
Well, that's good to know. But
Uh,
yeah, I think the best was the other part of the question. The best part of the event.
yeah, your favorite part out of the whole event. What was the best part out of it? Most enjoyable.
Um,
Other than finishing.
I mean, obviously getting patched. I mean, anyone could
Yeah.
say that that was the best part of the event. Because I mean, obviously it's over. You get done with it. I would say the most kind of like take home part of the event though was when you put all of us, me, Ian, and Don in that shower to cool us off. I think that was after the sand dune,
Yep.
and we were
Yep.
all just hugging underneath the shower, and it was, I mean,
Yeah.
the picture perfect moment.
Yep.
Um,
Well,
I
that
was like,
was literally, I was just sitting there going like, you guys were doing God of Chaos, and I'm like sitting there like, there's literally like freaking over easy eggs right now on a frying pan. Like you guys are just getting just fried sitting there, and I like looked at it, and I'm like, hey, there's a shower on the other side of this building, right? And Greg's like, yeah, there's a shower over there. I'm like, all right, they're going in it after this, and I'm gonna make them just sit there and embrace each other because they're freaking just fried. So I was like, as soon as you guys were done, I was like, everybody over into the shower, turn it on, and just hug each other out and just get all that crap off you and cool down as best you can, basically. Because that was, yeah, you guys were getting just fried on that blacktop. Like, I was actually feeling bad.
Oh yeah, no, it was bad
having you guys do that workout right there. But the gym had stuff going on inside, so I couldn't put you inside. So
yep.
there wasn't really much.
It was literally getting underneath that water was like literally euphoric in that moment. Like it was just because it was so cold, but we were just completely smoked. So that was, I mean, the pictures were perfect. You know, Greg made the edits with like the music and stuff. I thought that was fantastic. Yeah, that was definitely one of the most memorable parts. Other than that, you know, I would say just kind of like the U-Haul trips I always thought were pretty interesting. You know, that was kind of like my time to reflect between evolutions. And I was like,
yeah.
I just kind of observed like everyone was kind of in their own heads, especially later on into the event. Like nobody was talking in the back of the U-Hauls. Everyone was just kind of like huddled up, kind of like looking at each other. So it was. I just thought that was kind of neat because, you know, obviously that was a thing I've never done at any other type of event. Like, oh, they're transporting us from place to place. So that was a really neat concept. I like that you guys like incorporate that. But yeah, it's overall, man. I mean, the whole event was just something. It was something new. It was something different. I have no complaints about how it was done. It was. I mean, obviously it was tough. It was definitely the toughest thing I've done yet. And I know it's not going to be any easier in March. So I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Definitely not going to be
You know,
easier.
knowing that you know, some of these big names are going into it now, you know, I'm going to have to up my game. I mean, I've been training pretty damn crazy for the past however many months for Colorado, but also for selection coming up.
Yep.
And you know, I'm just, I guess now, even beyond that, whatever happens at that, I'm just gonna have to keep it up for March. So it's no hitting the brakes on it, unfortunately.
Not yet. And then you already made the statement. You got to get the coin and the other, you know, the 3 different types of patches that we have. So you got to get your silver patch.
So that was one of the things that devastated me the most about not being able to make it to Colorado was if I did finish, which I mean, looking at it now, probably slim.
You never know.
But if I did finish, you know, I would have that different patch. But now I gotta wait however much longer for the next white patch to come out. So because you know, I'm an idiot collector. I like to get all the different types of patches and stuff like that. So
you're an event patch collector's dream type thing. You're the guy.
Oh yeah,
like,
I'm the patch.
Awesome. He's gonna sign up for 20 of these because he's got to get the patch.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and you know, I tell you, I'm not opposed to doing it more, you know, 3 more times anyway, because it was just it's one of those events that's just awesome, dude. So I think that it's cool to see that, you know, so many people are getting into it now. I think it's definitely going to end up being like the next big endurance event that people are going to be really talking about in the community. I mean, even like Sarasota, when I did it, like there were talks on all the other the community pages for like Go Ruck and the others. Everyone's talking about it, you know, and they're like, you know, oh, you did that event? That's legit. Because it's something different, you know. People are interested in that different aspect of it. And so you know, some people like to stick to what they're good with, but there's also a huge demographic of people that are like, you know, what else is there? You know, let me go see what these other guys have to offer. And that's kind of how I've always been, is I'm not biased towards one company or the other. I just like to do it all, you know. So I see like all the drama that's going on with certain things, and I just like, you know, it is what it is. I'm still gonna go jump to this. I'll do this. See whatever's the hardest, you know. I'll make those basements. I'll make those judgments based on how it goes.
Yeah. No, that's why I like Ruckfest and stuff like that. Everybody should go check Ruckfest out. Even if you're not like, you know, super uber competitive and stuff, it's still worth giving it a go. You know, They got multiple options. Like you
Yeah,
can
that's
do
definitely on my list.
I mean, it's just you can do a trail run. It's a weighted trail run. You can walk it if you're not up to running it. You can do the fun division or
Mm-hmm.
competitive division for it. There's the games, which is basically you're against yourself on that one. In a sense, if you don't want to compete, you're just trying to get through it.
Right.
And then they got the crew event, which is a 3-man team basically, or a 3-man woman team, I should say. So it's again, something where, it's a little different. It's not the same as the other stuff that's out there. It's not the same as our stuff, Greg's stuff. Greg
Mm-hmm.
has his own thing going where he's, about the mountain stuff and, all that. So, in speed rucking and all that. So, there's a lot of different stuff out there now, as far as in the rucking community that, hopefully everybody gives a shot at least, and tries it. And
100%.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason not to try it. I mean, even, with our stuff, we've got it set up now that pretty much any level of fitness can try our event. We added a knockout option, which is the last 3 to 5 hours of a throwdown event. And there's no required weight. You can show up with whatever weight you want in a ruck, whatever weight sandbag you want, and just jump in. And basically, I'm not going to weigh it. You just whatever. You can bring an empty sandbag if you really wanted to. That's your call. I don't know if you want to, but hey, go for it. Bring an empty sandbag if you want. But hopefully, over the next year or two, we'll see more people jumping in on these events and stuff. And we'll continue to sponsor like Ruckfest and push Green Beret Fitness stuff and all these other rucking based events that are out there too. So they're all worth a shot. To check it out and see. I can say one thing about everybody I work with. They're all super like awesome people. That all they want to do is give you the best possible, experience. So, yeah. So anyways, let's see, where were we at? So like, you finished first place in, Sarasota. What's your mindset right now going in? I mean, you got 6 months until Charleston. So what's your mindset like, what's your goal? Are you looking, I mean, I can assume this, you're looking to go for first place, right? My assumptions would say, but like,
I will say it's gonna be damn. My game plan.
Yeah, like what's your game plan going into this next?
Well, I mean, obviously, knowing how many people are going to be approaching this one versus the previous one, I mean, to tell you the truth, for Sarasota, I didn't train as much as I should have, but I still managed just because I've got a good base.
Oh yeah, for sure.
My plan
That's
though
obvious, man.
is this time that. Well, I mean, specifically for this one, I'm basically I've just been destroying myself day in day out in the gym, with anything and everything that I can do, based on like I'm not following any specific programming right now. Yep. I'm just kind of, aside from like a really mutated version of like push pull legs with like all the disgusting cardio and sandbag and whatever else I can throw in there. And it's made a major difference just from the intensity I'm putting into the workouts. And so lately I've just been hitting it with just insane intensity, keeping the calories high, keeping the protein high, just to, make sure my recovery is good. My sleep has been fantastic now that I'm on a better schedule. So thankfully that's a plus.
That's a huge plus.
But yeah, man, I will say, like, I would like to go. I want to go in for a top 3 spot. That's my plan. But I know I got to put the damn work in, especially if I see some of these heavy hitters coming in. So, I mean, I got 6 months. Yep. It's a lot of time. If I could do pretty damn good at Sarasota, I know I can do a hell of a lot better with 6 months of just brutal training under my belt. Yep. Versus not as much as I really should have done it all for Sarasota going into Charleston. So we'll see what happens with it, man. But I intend to come with a purpose. I'm going to come in pretty much the best I've been. I'll try to be ready for anything and everything. I know because I know you are probably going to be throwing everything at us.
Nah.
And that's really the best thing you can do for the just sandbag stuff, nothing else. And then I know Greg's gonna throw like, And then Greg's going to tell us, oh, carry that rowing machine up those hills for 8 miles. I remember I saw him putting this thing out. He sent a DM to me about an event he's doing out in like San Diego, I think, where it's like an 8-mile hike through these mountains. And at each peak, you're doing a 5K row. And I'm just like, what kind of like sadistic mindset do you have to come up with this stuff? And so, I've kind of come to learn that you guys, like, there's really no limit to what you guys are willing to put out. So I just kind of have to have no limit to my training, I guess. And obviously I don't want to overtrain, but I can't leave anything, I can't leave any stone unturned. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, you never know what's going to come. I mean,
exactly.
Just don't.
For all I know, you could throw a bunch of barbell stuff in, but.
Yeah, I mean, there could be barbell. I mean, there could be, there's the options are endless, essentially, I should say. Because we have literally whatever we can figure out in that area, we can possibly utilize in some way, shape, or form. And again, right. As much as we like to bring similar stuff back, and there's some stuff we do, but we like to try to mix it up so that it's not that you saw in Sarasota. It's not the same event you saw in Colorado Springs. There's going to be those common things that you see. You're going to do heavy drop workouts. You're going to do AMRAPs. You're going to do a QMOD 6. Those things are given, but they're going to be in different aspects. There's going to be added, changes to it where maybe you're doing something else. We already have ideas of things, but doing something else that wasn't done at any of these other events, because again, we like to keep them fresh and we like to make sure that it's, stuff that's enjoyable in a sense, like, something that you're like, oh, wow, we're going to actually do that. That's cool. I never thought about doing it this way, but we're going to do that. Okay, cool. Let's try it. See what happens. Mm-hmm. So, we like to keep you guys a little surprised. Because it makes it more fun for you guys too. If it's not something like, oh, it's the exact same repetitive thing over and over and over. And we did this last time and we did that last time. And, stuff like that. So, Charleston's going to be cool.
Yeah, that's kind of something I like.
As far as location. What's that?
I was going to say, no, all I said was that, I mean, that's the type of stuff I like is, a lot of these events, you kind of go into some of them knowing exactly what to expect. But I really like the ones that have an element of surprise to them,
Yep. Yeah, and that's, like I said, we're always looking when we map out the whole thing. We're looking at anything and everything that's around there. If there's a location where they're like, hey, we got a wave pool, we're gonna be like, can we use a wave pool? Should we put them in a wave pool? Like, should we pay for passes for them to go into a wave pool and make them like swim to one end to the other or something against them? What's that? Is that a hint? Is that what you said? No, but I'm just saying, literally, it could be anything. Yep. I mean, in Colorado, we had the incline, and we basically set up the incline, type thing. And heck, just for a throwdown in Fredericksburg, I was looking at pool passes to try to get them into a pool, at some point, but there was no good route to get them there, so we didn't do it. But that's stuff that, if it's in the area, we can utilize it. If it's a few bucks to pay for each person, based on your guys' sign up, that's like, hey, why not? It's a better experience for them. And, it's not going to, break the bank. Then let's see if we can use it and do it, So, I mean, anything and everything's fair game. So if you've ever Google mapped out Charleston area and you see something that you're like, oh, I could totally see them doing whatever at that location, it might happen. It could happen. So,
I'll have to start doing my research then.
Yay. It's not a bad idea. You start looking at it, you're like, oh, well, look at this. There's a huge field that goes for 6 miles straight nonstop. What could they possibly want to use that for? Quarter mile of death turns into 6 miles of just pure carnage. Not saying that's a possibility, but we'll see.
Well, I'll consider it.
Yeah. But, all right, man. Well, anything else you want to go over or chit chat about here?
Or? I was just gonna say. I mean, as far as like if there's like any advice I could throw out to certain people that are going to be
Yeah, yeah,
approaching Cerberus, because
go
I've
for it.
already there's been a few people that have asked me about it. A few people that have like mentioned, what can I expect, this and the other. I tell everyone there's really you can expect certain elements, but there's really so many things that you can't expect. The biggest thing is just kind of getting used to. I always tell people in training is like each time you think like you're done with a certain workout, or like if you're following a program type deal, um right when you think you're done with that workout, throw an extra set in. Just go a little bit further with each thing you do right after you think you're finished with it. And it's like, because it really is one of those things that I think a lot of these events entail isn't so much physical, but it's really more of a mental thing.
For sure.
And building that mental resiliency is really all about what you got to do is, you just got to push a little bit further each time. I mean, not to the point of overtraining, obviously, but just if you have a little bit left in the tank, use it,
Yeah.
because it's one of these things to do certain types of programs and stuff, or, everyone's got their own methods of training. And, a lot of people they'll go to the gym and it's like their comfort zone. They're like, all right, I'm satisfied with my workout, I'm done. You really kind of have to get uncomfortable in a lot of these, training scenarios. And that's what it's all about. Like, I mean, for me, even if I'm just doing like a strength based day, I'm carrying my ruck around. Like, I'm making it suck a little more by just carrying this heavy thing around with me. Um, like if I'm hopping on the Stairmaster, I'll throw my ruck on with that too, and that makes it 10 times worse.
Oh yeah.
But and that's kind of the thing that you just kind of have to get used to. Is if you're comfortable with the way that your programming or your training is being done, and you feel good getting it done, I would have to say it's time to make a change with it. I always like to tell people, like, just make it tough. You shouldn't want to look forward to going to the gym to go do your workout every day, because at that point, if you're just enjoying it too much, nothing good comes from, everything. You grow from discomfort. Nothing good really grows from just getting too comfortable with these things. And so that's kind of just my biggest tidbit of advice I always tell people getting ready for any of these endurance events, because you get into these evolutions at these events, and right when you want it to be over, or you expect it to be over, it's not going to be over. So each thing you do, just go a little extra. That was the biggest thing for me that made a big difference in a lot of the long range events like Sarasota. Was just giving a little bit more when you think you've given enough. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be like a crazy amount. You don't have to do another whole workout, but throw a set or two more in. Just get uncomfortable with it. So that's just my last little tidbit I like to tell people.
No, I agree 100%. On top of that, I'll say I'd highly recommend anybody that's training for Ceres or for any Cerberus event, try to get some rope climbs in after you're fatigued. Because that's going to be, I mean, you're going to be more fatigued at 40 hours than you are after a workout, but
Yep.
try to start getting some work in there at a fatigued level safely. Obviously, don't be, you don't have to climb the full length of the rope, but try to get yourself up the rope some so that you're getting comfortable with that fatigued aspect of, swinging the legs up and getting that, technique down. And throw on a weight. You're going to have, 20, I think it's 21-pound weight on you inside your ruck. And then on top of that, you're carrying the actual rifle. So I would aim to try for 30 pounds on your training sessions to have that, on your back. And again, do it safely. If anybody watched Ruckfest, we had the 6 participants that were in the finals. They did it at the very end. They did that exact same movement. Greg and I caught people that fell. And you could see it. The hands start shaking like this. And then all of a sudden they lean back a little bit and they fall. We caught them. So we're down there. We're ready to catch you. And we caught some big people. Like it wasn't, these are solid muscle athletes. Like this isn't,
Mm-hmm.
10-pound people walking through here. This is, legit athletes. So we caught people. and we'll catch you. So, but, while you're doing your training sessions, definitely, be safe on it. And, again, you don't have to go all the way to the top during a training session, but get comfortable with doing those movements while you're fatigued, because you are going to be fatigued if you get to that rope climb, 100% guaranteed. Yeah. No doubts about it. So mentally, you want to be able to go back to that point and be like, all right, I did this fatigue before. I remember how it was. My legs were smoked or my upper body was smoked, whatever it is. Start working on fatigued rope climbs. Again, safely, reiterate it, safely, because Greg and I can't be there to catch you when your guys are training. So, but yeah, that's, again, something that I'd highly recommend anybody training. Do those fatigue rope climbs, because, it's going to be, the event's going to come down to it. And that's, all technique, in all honesty. If you work on your technique, you should be able to complete that. And I think Liz would have completed it too if she didn't slip. She went straight up the first time. You got to do 2 climbs, so it's 30 feet total. So, she went straight up the first time, came back down, was fine. Went up the second time, she slipped. Adrenaline dump happened. She was, shaking. Her whole dexterity was gone in her hands. And then it was just, she couldn't get to the top because of that. So I honestly think if she doesn't slip, she gets all the way to the top, no question about it. It was just,
100%.
bad luck. And, just one of those things. When you're fatigued too, those things happen sometimes. You can't always expect your body to work for you 100% of the time. When you say move your leg this way, sometimes it doesn't happen when you're that fatigued. So, again, that's something I would definitely practice, is fatigue rope climbs. Cool, man.
Work your grid.
Anybody have questions? I'm just looking to see if there's any questions. Put them up now. We'll give them about, let's see, we'll give them 30 seconds to see if anybody throws any questions. And then, we'll call it, unless you have anything else you wanted to say.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've pretty much covered all bases. I wish I was able to make it out to Colorado. Bummed I couldn't. For reasons I told you.
No, you're fine.
But I tell you, it's I'm glad I was able to see some of it. I'm glad you guys have been doing well with your events. And I promise you, I'm not going to be missing Charleston. It's gonna suck, but I'm looking forward to it. So
you know what? But it sucks. But I mean, first off, you'll have me as the Mr. Nice Guy. You just have to deal with middle guy who's, Shredder, and then not nice guy.
And you have Greg.
The red coat. Although we have been in discussions of me taking over the not nice guy position and see what happens. And then Greg being the nice guy, which I think would be a weird dynamic.
No, y'all would both end up being the bad guys. Greg can only.
Greg doesn't think I can play bad guy though. Greg doesn't think I have a bad guy in me, so we'll see.
I don't know, man. Those workouts you throw at us are bad enough, man. Those are smokers.
Oh yeah, for sure. As they're supposed to be. So
yeah.
All right, man.
I don't think Greg's got a good
questions. So what's that?
I was gonna say I don't think Greg can hold that good guy facade for too long. So
yeah, hey, if you're gonna put your hands on your hips, expect to do 20 burpees. That's a guarantee. I can tell you right now. So anybody that trains for Cerberus, if you're doing a workout or a ruck and you put your hands on your hips, smoke yourself with 20 burpees right there on the spot, because I can guarantee you're going to have to get used to it, especially if there's 50 people at this. I guarantee 100% someone's going to have their hands on their hips almost every moment of the event if there's 50 of you. All right? So get used to it. Like if you're doing a workout and you put a hand on the hip, just boom, just be like, I got 20 burpees.
Yeah, used to putting them behind your back.
Yep, and get comfortable with try not to put them on your hips, basically. Start working on that now, and you'll be all right. So real quick. So Curtis, so actually I was debating that concept of getting a team house together. If we have that many people. Hopefully we don't have a use for that many spaces in a room, but with that many people, we may be able to get like an actual team house together. And then it would just be sort of everybody chips in type thing. And we'll
that'd be pretty cool.
See what they got. We'll probably have to pay like some ridiculous, like $1,500 or $2,000 a night for a place that can hold 20 people or something in it. But in the end, it wouldn't be that much for everybody to chip in. So,
yeah, if everyone's pitching in.
What's that?
I would say if everyone's pitching in, it's really not that bad. You might actually
not at all.
Save money versus a hotel.
Yeah, no, I've done events where I got an Airbnb and put the front of the cost, and then everybody chipped in, and it ends up being like $200 for a weekend type thing, if not even less with this many people. So yeah, we're gonna sort of check some stuff out. I got the start location I'm working on right now to make sure we're locked in for that. Once I have that locked in, I'll look at stuff that's in that area and see what they have out there as far as things go, because I want to try to lock everything in early on this one with the food festival going on. I don't know how popular the food festival is, but it's a festival. So, and it's out there. We know about it, so other people know about it too. I don't want to, lose out on something where, somebody that's going to do a hot dog eating contest gets my place or something, So, but yeah, we'll be in touch with all the participants as they sign up with what our plans are going forward with that. Ideally, we'd like to get a team house. I think that's the better option. We'd have everybody on the same site, especially if we, again, hopefully not have any med drops or injury drops or anything like that. But if we did, it'd be nice to have them on site so we can check in on them and stuff like that throughout, the event. So as we do our exchanges out, I go in, Shredder comes out, Greg goes in, so on and so forth. We can always check in on people, make sure everybody's good. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with that, though. Cool. Yeah, hopefully the house is empty all weekend. I mean, don't get me wrong. I hope so, too. But, I mean, the numbers don't say it will be. I'll just say that. I'm not saying we're not going to have everybody finish, but
the odds are against us.
Let's just say I mean I believe the lottery numbers when they say I don't have a chance to win the lottery, because I probably don't have a chance to win the lottery, but we'll see what happens. It's an event. You guys go out there and put it all out there. If everybody finishes, I'll be super surprised, but that just shows the level of athletes that we have coming out for this. So yeah, that's about what I got to say about that. So
cool.
All right, man. Looks like we're good, and
cool.
Appreciate you coming out and chit-chatting it up here a little bit and giving some insight.
I appreciate you hosting me.
What's that?
I would say I appreciate you hosting me, and I appreciate you hosting all these events. Looking forward to seeing you again in the near future. I think next on my radar, because I was torn about Jupiter Beach because there's something else going on that weekend.
Okay.
But definitely 100% Tallahassee. I'm game for that. So
awesome.
Throw down in Tallahassee. You can count on me being there for that one.
Awesome, man. Sweet. We'll see you then. If not, we'll see you in Jupiter too. If you come out to Jupiter, that's cool too. If you can't make it, all good too.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. I'll pick one or the other.
All right. Sounds good, man. You have a good rest of your evening.
All right, dude.
Thanks for coming out.
All right, you too, Brian. You have a good one, buddy.
All right, we'll see you.